Hello, everybody, and happy Monday. Welcome to Chart Request Live. My name is Sam Gatlin, and I am joined by my esteemed colleague and co-host, Mr. Alfonso de Pablos. How's it going, Alfonso? Did you miss me? I heard that you and Jason Purrs were the dream team on Chart Request Live while I was away in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, but I'm hoping I can do my best here, and I will be acceptable for our audience. But I'm no Jason Purse. Let's be honest.
Look, we did great with Jason. People love the show. A really good talk. And yeah, of course, I miss you. You always have and bring good perspective on where you're seeing out there. And we were just talking about Greece, probably the best index out, probably in the world right
It
now.
is,
Probably one of
yes.
the best ETF
I'll
in
pull
the
up the
world.
stats here, but I think it's up like 50% this year.
I mean, it's crazy, and the chart couldn't look any better. So yeah, we're starting this show talking about the Greece shares, the stock. So really interesting, the start of the show today.
So year to date, I said it was up 50%. It's actually up 72%. This
Wow.
GREC ETF. And remember, Greece was like the hardest hit country during the Great Financial Crisis. It was a virtually bankrupt country, and a lot of those countries and individual stocks that were supposed to be zeros after the Great Financial Crisis, they are coming back with a vengeance, Alfonso. I know JC has been getting a good chuckle out of hearing you say that the Deutsche Bank is the best bank in the world, the DB. Is that still the case? Because
Well,
it was
look,
supposed to be a zero for a long time. A lot of people were
yeah,
betting
I know, but I don't know what is going on in Europe, to be honest, especially with these European banks. I don't know, to be honest, but they are looking very, very good. They have been, on a tear lately in the past couple, of the last 2 years. Here we're seeing, for example, Banco Bilbao, BBVA, and yeah, I mean, Deutsche Bank, really, really nice reversal trend here. Unbelievable, right? But it is what it is.
Totally. I saw kind of a tongue-in-cheek tweet from JC over the weekend about how people are worried about unemployment numbers when you have stocks like Deutsche Bank soaring to new highs like it is. It's just really, really difficult to be bearish in a market environment where that is happening. And especially, it's not just one individual stock. It's very much a broad rally. It's
Yeah,
really, really difficult to find a bad bank chart right now. I mean, you can look at the regional banks in the US, and that's a bit of a different story. But if you're talking about large money center banks around the world, I don't think there's any chart that looks bearish. Like they're all going up to new highs.
yeah, no, I couldn't agree more with you. And in fact, if you create an equal weight index of the six largest banks in America, they are making new all-time highs. So the biggest banks in America are also making new all-time highs. They are looking good. For example, Citigroup here is probably the best example here. After that nasty drawdown and crash in 2009, 2008, right now we are just completing this monster random formation. So as long as we're above 82, 83 in the Citigroup, I mean, the bias in this stock is higher. And I was showing the European financial ETF making new all-time highs. We broke from this monster consolidation, and right now we're on our way to our first target around the 161 extension, right around 36 and a half. So yeah, as you mentioned before, seeing European banks making new all-time highs every single day, how bad could things be out there, right?
Totally. Yeah. Really hard to be bearish. I think it'll be prudent to kind of reevaluate the current market landscape if and when that EUFN reaches that 161.8 extension level. You know, you have a lot of people out here talking about how we're in a bad seasonal period for risk assets in general, but you know, it's not looking like that corrective wave is going to come anytime soon.
Yeah, and remember, I mean, seasonality is just one more tool that we use in our, intermarket puzzle, right? And what it suggests is, it's the historical trends. I mean, and corrective phases could be, more on a sideways basis, right? And time, rather than in a big drawdown or in a big corrective wave. So we'll see. But so far,
the gold futures chart is case and point of correcting through time and not price.
Exactly. This is a great example of that.
Totally. All right, Alfonso, that's enough rambling for the top of the show. Let's get into some of the ticker requests. I see a lot of action in the YouTube chat today, so we appreciate all of you being here. Shout out Wavy McFly, Mr. Zerby, Rajesh, I think is how you say that, Alexander. We've got Adam in the house. We'll try to get to your tickers, but of course we will get to the mailbag first. If you want to get your ticker included in our mailbag for the next episode, you can email questions@stockmarketmedia.com, and we will be sure to include your ticker in the next Chart Request Live next Monday. So first up, we have a ticker request from Carl looking at CRS and or Casey. So pick one of these, Alfonso, and run with it. Personally, I like the Casey's General Store quite a bit. You know, we have a Casey's General Store in my hometown that I am a frequent customer. And, I wish Buc-ee's was publicly traded. But aside from that, I think Casey's is my favorite gas station stock. And, it seems pretty clear that the market agrees with me because the stock doesn't really have bear markets, Alfonso. It kind of just goes up. It's like a toll booth. They just collect money in any market environment.
That's probably the quote of the day for Casey.
Yeah.
So I mean, solid uptrend. I mean, what can I say here, right? Solid uptrend. We're right in the middle of this FIB extensions level. I think we can see 600. And in the future, but a little bit difficult to define risk right now. This is Casey on a relative basis looking very, very good.
Totally. I love how it's making new highs in relative terms too, Alfonso, because you can look at a lot of these secular uptrends, stocks that don't really have bear markets. They just go up in all market environments, and they don't really have that relative strength like Casey's does. But this one's really extraordinary.
Yeah, no, this chart is very good looking here, consolidating a little bit on a relative basis. But the fact that we broke out last year from this monster base, and the relative trend has been confirming what we're seeing in the absolute trend. It's really really powerful for the stock in the short term. I think we're consolidating in a very tight range here.
Totally. What if you dropped a whop from that last earnings gap? That could be an optimal entry. Buying the dip in a strong long-term uptrend. That's one of my favorite ways to invest for the long term.
No, that's beautiful. And you're right. I mean, this big has been acting as support in the past couple of weeks and months, and let's call it 510. If we're above 510, the path of resistance is clearly higher. If we break below this VWAP from this earnings from the latest earnings report that we had, it will be a little bit more choppy, and and sideways, in my opinion. But as long as we're above that earnings VWAP, bulls are firmly in control, and the path of the resistance is clearly higher on this name.
Looks pretty fantastic. So thank you, Carl, for bringing that one along. And we've got Joe in the chat, Alfonso, a fellow KC Cowboy. Howdy, partner. I'm glad you're here, Joe. Next up, let's move to Wavy McFly's ticker request.
Okay.
Looking at New York Times, that's ticker NYT. Looks like the fake news is making real money. Massive base breakout. Where are we likely going from here? Looks like we're not going lower. I can tell you that much. But this company, I think it's much bigger than people realize.
What's the market
Certainly
cap?
bigger than I realized. The market cap on here is almost $10 billion for the New York Times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice. So yeah,
You also have short interest making new 52-week highs, Alfonso. It's not that extreme, only
nice.
6%, but it's encouraging from the bullish side to see the shorts piling in here as it's resolving this beautiful base.
Yeah, I mean, this is a monster base. This is probably, I don't know, like the 5th or 6th attempt for NYT to break out of this key resistance level, right? We were here in 2021, late 2021, in 2024, and then back in 2002. And right now, we're just trying to break out of this big consolidation here. If I zoom in a little bit, we gapped here, right? Basically on earnings, and now we're retracing some of the recent gains. I think we can define risk. I think at this pivot high from November, October, December 2024, and earlier this year around 57.
Yeah, it looks amazing. That earnings gap you're showing there, Alfonso, that was the best earnings reaction since October 22nd of 2009.
Wow.
Up over 15% in a single session. And clearly you can see the market's giving a lot of that back, but nonetheless, like that's not
not filling the gap, right? Not filling the gap so far. So yeah, I like it. And notice where this gap starts here, right? Right at this pivot high that I mentioned, right around 57, 56.
It's kind of a gap to go, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you have the monster pattern here. You have the catalyst of the earnings, the best earnings reactions since 2009, and we're talking about a monster base. The bigger the base, the higher in the space. I think we can head towards 84. And even 133, 130 in the future. So I really like this chart. I really like this base. And it's also worth mentioning, when you have a base of this magnitude in size, sometimes it takes time for the buyers to absorb all overhead supply at these resistance levels, right? So sometimes you have to be patient. Here in 2021, we had some whipsaw here, right? Some failed moves here. And price got rejected, but right now this move so far seems to be legit, even though they were retracing some of the gains of the some of the earnings gains in the past 3 sessions. I think the passive little resistance is higher, and I think as long as we're above that level, I think this monster base finally underway to be be So love
kind of
pattern.
Interesting too. Like this is a hedge against Trump's tweets. The more Trump tweets, the more money New York Times makes. So I love having that exposure in my portfolio personally. So thank you, Wavy, for bringing this one along.
Really
New
good
York
chart.
Times looks excellent. So let's move on to Daniel. Says he watched the ASC Gold Rush stream and we mentioned CRK. That's Comstock Resources, the Jerry Jones special, if you will. Yeah. And after a nasty 50% drawdown from the recent highs, does CRK rebound and go up with natural gas or not?
No, I mean, it's incredible.
He says, thank you. Love the content, by the way. So thank you for saying that, Daniel. We appreciate you. And Alfonso, before you go here, I'd like to give a shout out to the short sellers in the CRK because they have been very, very greedy in this one. Of course, they've been proven right recently as this one's gotten
What's the short
crushed,
interest?
but they were piling in as this one was breaking out of a massive base. So this one is still carrying 23% short interest with a 7x days to cover ratio. So a lot of squeeze potential here. Plus, you have the best month of the year for natural gas futures. So, there's a lot of potential tailwinds for the stock. But of course, we need to see the buyers step in here because this one's gotten obliterated recently.
I mean, it's impressive how, in the past 2 months, the stock has been cut in half, right? So for me, it was a really solid breakout here when it broke out, in early May.
Totally.
Right? Because
I think you can draw a Fibonacci extension level from that. I believe that's the 2022 peak to the 2024 low. And it just it tagged that extension level to the very penny and absolutely got crushed from there. So,
right here.
Yeah, not really sure how much that matters, but that's the sitch.
Yeah, I mean, but here we're talking, a monster, trend reversal pattern, right? That it's failing right now. Not only below the upper ends of this monster base, but also the big one from the all-time highs. I like it long above 21. For me, above 21, I like it long. Maybe you can define some risk at this pivot highs, but it's a little bit in the middle of the range. So for me, I will like this one on a strength about 21, and this move will be more considered like a false start, not a failed breakout here. So that's where my head is at. I don't know.
Totally. How I learned it, Alfonso, is that the bigger the drop, the longer it needs to repair itself. And this one's it's gotten cut in half in just a few months. So, for me, this is more of a let it dance setup and then just set your alert. So your system lets you know whenever it reclaims that key level of interest. But yeah,
I think this is the best natural gold equity vehicle.
No, I mean, it's probably the most pure play natural gas. But I've been outlining some other natural gas setups for Gold Rush Premium members. You can go check that out in Friday's note, actually. Really nice setup there, breaking out of a massive base. So I think you will like what you see there, but I'm not giving it away to everyone. You got to be a Gold Rush Premium member to get that access. But yeah, I don't think there's much else to say about the CRK. Let it dance, I guess.
Let it dance.
Next up is from Nicholas, wanting to see ARMN. That's Aaron, Rachel, Michael, Nicole.
Wait, can you repeat the ticker?
ARMN. That's right. Yep, that's one of the best gold mining stocks out there. This is the Tommy Humphrey special. For those of you who are not familiar with Mr. Tommy Humphrey, your life has gone horribly wrong because he is awesome. He's one of my favorite gold bugs out there. He does tremendous work. He's more of a fundamental analyst. So being a technical analyst myself, I really appreciate his perspective on things. And he's a big fan of this Aris mining. So Nicholas said he heard about this stock on the morning show about a year ago, and it's been a nice double so far. Maybe we could maybe outline some potential target levels for this stock, Alfonso. I think that's what this is looking for.
That's what I'm trying to do here. I mean, first, if we zoom out, it's very similar charts the CRK, right? Nasty decline here, for almost 6 years, and now we're in a big basing process here, and now we're trying to break out. But I think if we can just zoom in a little bit and define risk at the 2021 highs around 660, right? So as long as we're above 660, the positive resistance is higher. I think we can see it at 950, eventually 1415.
It kind of looks to me like there's a bearish momentum divergence here, Alfonso. Is that the situation? Am I just hallucinating? It's kind of cute.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't be too concerned about it. But yeah, I was just thinking about a potential rug pull back to that breakout level so the institutions can accumulate more shares, but I'm not sure if it'll happen.
Yeah, I think in this chart, it's pretty simple. You have your line in the sun very well defined here, 660. It's the line in the sun. If we get below that level, I have nothing to do with this stock. To be honest, I wouldn't touch it.
Totally. Yep. Nice setup though. A lot of potential upside there. This one was trading at like $400 a decade ago, so. It's at $7 now. So
yeah,
this is potentially the beginning of a massive uptrend.
I think it can start. I mean, if you want to imagine, in the future, this company, this stock to be, in the 50s or whatever, it starts, by holding this high from 2021 high, from the 2021.
Yep, that's key.
Exactly.
All right, Alfonso, let's move on to LIF, looking at it with a 3-month time frame, and this one comes from a one Hansen in the mailbag. So this is the Life 360. This is a new issue. My family is actually a Life 360 family, so that's the fundamental analysis for you on the Life 360. Seems to be a great product. The short sellers hate it though. Short interest is at an all-time high, about 5% in the 5%. LIF, pushing a $6 billion market cap.
Earnings tomorrow, by the way.
Ayo, let's
earnings see. Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, I'll pull up the earnings chart on my system here, see how this one's reacted in the past to its earnings reports, and yeah, looks like it's been rewarded for 2 consecutive earnings reports, rallying almost 14% after its last report. So, yeah.
But when I talk about this chart, it's a new issue, whatever. It broke out of this base on the heel of earnings back in May. Really nice candle here. It went up like 20%. That's huge. And right now it's consolidating in a very tight range. Definitely earnings tomorrow will be, probably like a catalyst for the next move, either higher or lower. We don't know. But so far, it's a tight range. And what I have learned is, from tight coils and contraction in volatility, it tends to come expansion. We can expect a wild move probably tomorrow. So just be mindful that the earnings are tomorrow, and nothing else.
So if it's a good reaction, Alfonso, would you be looking to take profits there at 91, or would you be looking to the next extension level to take profits? Hansen's trading this with a 3-month time frame. So what do you think? Do you think it can hit that 128 level within 3 months, or is 91 a hard sell?
It depends on the earnings, right? It depends on the earnings. But yeah, I think 90. It's high probability right now. Be up like 15% from here. I would like to see momentum getting overbought again to confirm this bullish regime, right? Not to think too much about this bearish momentum divergence. But the trend's very solid here. And again, let's wait for that earnings reaction tomorrow.
Nice. It looks good. Thank you, Hanson, for bringing that one to our attention. Finally, Alfonso, the last ticker in the mailbag before we hop over to the YouTube chat. This one comes from Jonathan, looking for a long-term view on BMNR. Wondering where this can go and where you would set your risk parameters. And
This
this is the Tom Lee special. That one,
wait, wait.
you
This
have the
is-
right ticker. Yeah, it looks, yeah, I don't really know how much technical analysis you can do on this one because, the business model completely changed a few months ago. So this one's been a failing Bitcoin miner for a very long time. And Tom Lee came in here and reversed it into an Ethereum treasury. So he's doing the Michael Saylor playbook on the BMNR, but doing it much, much more aggressively. I think he said it's something like 18 times faster of how
Okay, so
how quickly they're accumulating the Ethereum relative to
okay, so
MicroStrategy.
something changed here in
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying, Alfonso. Yeah,
in
that's
July.
where they changed into a Ethereum trust. So, yeah, I don't really know how much value our technical analysis can provide here. We don't have much to work with. Of course, if it's above that VWAP, it looks nice, up pretty
Yeah,
big.
I mean, if you want to define risk here,
You might
yeah.
as well just look at the Ethereum chart, Alfonso. I think that could be more helpful because if Ethereum's going up, this chart's probably not going lower, and Ethereum's at a huge level. That 4,000 has been a resistance for a very, very long time, and it's just
Yeah,
now
4,000. It's a big. It's a big level, right? It's this big area here. We're right now we're testing it again. It is a fourth attempt or fifth attempt to break out. I think crypto will go. To be honest, I think crypto will go. Yesterday, Bitcoin was trying to make new all-time highs. And what I'm seeing here in this, in the biggest cryptos, of course, not including Bitcoin. Bitcoin already broke out of this monster base. Remember when we broke out, above 70. But if you look at Ethereum, that's a monster base. That's a monster base. We haven't reached new all-time highs since November 2021. Almost 4 years ago, right? And when we look at Solana, the next one, we're right there, monster base again, the 2021 highs. If we drop a big from this pivot all-time highs, we're trying to reclaim. This is a big level here. If we take a look at the Binance coin, nobody talks about the Binance coin, but it's looking very, very good. It's trying to break out. We haven't seen any meaningful follow through here, but the fact that this monster base is trying to go, it speaks volumes, right?
It looks better than the Coinbase.
Yeah, exactly. Even for example, the Ripple.
Who our crypto analyst at All Star Charts loves to call a scam. If the fundamental people think this one's a scam, then if it's making new all-time highs, resolving a massive base, there's probably not a lot of mispositioning here. There's probably plenty of buyers left.
This is a big level in the old Ripple, right?
Yeah.
So what? But the main point here, there are big bases in these altcoins. Not only Bitcoin, but if these altcoins, Ethereum, Solana, they break out of these monster bases, it is crypto summer, right? People will get crazy, as in 2021, 2020, 2017, 2016. So yeah,
let's make NFTs great again, Alfonso.
They will probably be something new. In all cycles, there is something new. The meme coins, the NFTs, the crypto, whatever. It's fun. It's fun to see. So
it is fun. And if you're not having fun with crypto, if you're complaining about how stupid Fartcoin is or crypto dick butts, I think you should reevaluate your life because, investing isn't supposed to be a miserable endeavor. You're supposed to have fun with it. And in my experience, I perform much better when I have fun with it. I don't have to trade Fartcoin, but it's okay to laugh at Fartcoin. That's funny. It's a good meme and it's worth billions of dollars because it's a good meme. It is what it is.
No, and for an informational standpoint, if the Filecoin is making new highs, for example, how bad can things be out there, right? And that's probably the environment where people will make more money in crypto, right? Everything will be going up and up and up in a vertical line. So yeah, embrace crypto, embrace meme coins, embrace this crazy altcoin sometimes.
Totally. Don't be an angry bear. Though nobody likes an angry bear. They're no fun. Try to have some fun with your life, and I promise you, you'll be much happier for it. Now, Alfonso, let's turn to the YouTube chat and cover a few tickers. We don't have much time, but of course, if you want us to chart your ticker in the next episode and we don't get to it today, do not hesitate to email us at questions@stockmarketmedia.com and we'll be sure to throw it in next week's mailbag. But first up, we have Mr. Zerby's ticker, which I suspect is going to be a nice chart. I'm not really sure what this chart looks like, but let's look at Lite, Lite. Mr. Zerby's looking to light it up. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Zerby, shout out to you. You didn't miss once again. I don't think you've ever missed on this show. Always bringing an amazing ticker. This one looks great.
Looks great. Earnings tomorrow, by the way.
Ew.
But look, it completed this B bottom here, making new all-time highs. This is a nice base. When you have this type of chart, it's easier to do, to trade them, right? So as long as we're above 110, the passive resistance is higher. If we get below this level, it will, price will tell us that need more time to base here and start like a new higher here, right? So right now we're right there. No follow through so far. It is a fresh breakout. Look at the prior movement here. It may be a little bit overextended in the short term. We're getting overbought. That's always something positive.
Alfonso, I might add that the short interest here is at an all-time high. So
nice.
Positioning is wildly offsides for a chart that looks this good. You have 17% short interest and a 5x days to cover ratio. So if this one sticks the landing, I think it's going to go vertical. It's been going vertical, but I think that trend will continue towards that 161.8 extension level.
Wait, but I have a question. Do you have the historical of the short interest, or at least the past few months?
Yeah, I do.
And how was it?
It's at an all-time high.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, will you say that earnings tomorrow could be, a catalyst for this thing to, skyrocket from here?
No doubt about it, Alfonso. You don't have to pull up the chart, but look at something like SoundHound, which has extreme short interest. This company is probably a complete scam. It's a very questionable business that they have going on here, but that's not what we're trading here. We're trading patterns, and this is a pattern that we buy all day, every day, and it's the same situation for the Lite here. I don't really care what the fundamentals are, but if the market's going to react positively like it did with SoundHound, then the short sellers are going to get their faces ripped off, and this one's going to be trading at 150 by the end of the month. Yeah, that's where my head's at, Alfonso.
No, I like it. And from a risk management standpoint, 110 is your level. If we're above 110, you can belong this name. If we get below the 110, give it alone, give it some more time, set your alerts, because this is a really, really nice base. So really nice chart.
Thank you, Mr. Zerby, for bringing that one along. Great chart. Next, Alfonso, let's finish up with the Tesla. We have several people in the chat asking for the Tesla, and I mentioned in the analyst chat before we got on here that I was buying the Tesla. The Tesla looks excellent here. And, I think it's time for this one to break out to new all-time highs. It tried to do it late last year, but it failed miserably. But from a higher time frame perspective, that corrective wave just led to higher lows. And it's been coiling here for quite some time. So I think this resolution will be very powerful. And in my opinion, I think it'll lead to new all-time highs and possibly Tesla becoming the most valuable company in the world. That's right. I think Tesla can be the most valuable company in the world. Nvidia is probably going to $10 trillion, but I don't think Tesla's going to be far behind it. What do you think, Alfonso? Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy at all. I mean, especially when you look at this type of chart of Tesla. Let me zoom out a little bit more. Tesla spent 5 years like doing nothing here, and then boom, explode higher. Incredible, performance in a matter of 3-4 years. Now we're working and building out a nice base. It's a weekly chart. We had a failed breakout here, but right now in the short term, it's giving us a beautiful pattern here, right? This type of triangle here, this tight range now resolving higher. I think we could be, on the verge of seeing Tesla retest at least 420. That is the prior cycle high from 2021. And this is happening within the context as a monster base. And if we break out again about 420, I think that will be the breakouts. That will be the real breakouts, and we're going to head toward higher prices in the future. So I love right now this reaction from this type pattern. So
looks great. Thank you for those who requested that one in the chat, because I definitely wanted to look at it during today's show. And we have a funny comment here from Midas Swell in the chat, Alfonso. We were talking about the fart coin earlier. He said that he saw somewhere that in Denmark, fart control, indicates the speed limit. So that's funny. That's all we have today, though. Let's bounce off of here, Alfonso. This was a great show, as always. I guess we should finish up with our favorite tickers from today's episode. There were a lot of really nice charts that we looked at today. The New York Times, one of the first ones we looked at today from Wavy, that's one of my favorites. The Tesla looks great. The Light looks great from Mr. Zerby, but anything else catch your attention, Alfonso? What was your chart of the day?
Oh, I mean, it's hard. I was impressed with the New York Times, but I think that Tesla has, huge implications here, especially for the consumer discretionary sector, right? That could push, XLY to catch up a little bit on the entire sector. And it's huge, and it's one of the the Mag 7s that hasn't been making new all-time highs, but I think it's about time. I think it's about time for this one to catch higher here and finally break out of this monster base. And the short-term pattern, beautiful.
That is beautiful. Yeah, that's a textbook volatility compression there. And we know, Alfonso, from volatility compression comes expansion, and it looks pretty clear that expansion is happening on the upside. So yeah, keep an eye out for the Tesla. Looks very nice. That is all we have for today. If we didn't get to any of your tickers, please don't hesitate to email us at questions@stockmarketmedia.com. chartrequest.com, and we will get your ticker thrown in the mailbag for next week's episode of Chart Request Live. And as always, be here next week, same time, same place, for another great episode of Chart Request Live. Alfonso, any parting words?
No, thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this show, and see you guys next week at the same time. So thank you very much.
Adios, everyone.